Hi guys. Before we get started, I do want to say a quick prayer, just to get us in the right headspace. So yeah, God, I pray that you use me as a vessel to do your will. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. All right. Today, first off, how are you guys? How's your day? How are you? What's going on? I hope you're living large. I hope you're having fun. It's summertime. We outside. Yeah, but I really hope that you're having a really good day. And I pray that this word, blesses you, because it blessed me. And yeah, today the Lord encouraged me to talk about how to combat loneliness as a Christian. Now, I've had a very interesting relationship with loneliness. I'm not lonely anymore because I know that I'm never really alone, but I have had a really interesting relationship with loneliness throughout COVID. I really had no friends, and because we're on lockdown and everyone had to stay home and everything, and I had just moved to a new house, which is where I am now. And I wasn't able to play my favorite sport anymore, and that was really kind of like the only way that I was really, connecting with other people at the time was through that sport. And so I wasn't able to play anymore, and I was like, dang, I'm stuck at home all day. I really lost contact with all my friends from previous school years. And when I say all, I mean all. Yeah. And then we stopped going to our old church, and we started to adventure out and find a new church. And so I'm like, dang, all my church friends are gone. All of my friends are gone. They're all just gone, and it was just me. And I remember thinking about this a lot and kind of meditated on it day and night. Dang, I really have no one to talk to. And it really was hard because I felt really lonely. I really just wanted a friend, and I didn't have it. And it just caused me to kind of be bitter, kind of be angry. And I remember also at the time I was really heavily on social media, not really posting content but really absorbing content. I remember I would scroll on TikTok, and then I will look up and 8 hours have passed, and I'm like, dang, I've been here just absorbing information on TikTok for hours. And I know a lot of that was me looking at or comparing myself to other people. Dang, she does this, she has friends. Dang, she does this, she has friends. And that constant comparison kind of made me want to change myself to kind of get what they had. If I'm like them, then I will have what they had in a way. Yeah, I thought that if I could change myself to make me like them, then I would have the happiness that they had or the friends that they had. And that wasn't true at all. Because I tried to change myself a lot. I would be okay, this girl, she looks really pretty, she got a slim waist, and I'ma do what she does. I'ma work out like her. I'ma wake up at 5 a.m., change my morning routine. I'm gonna do my skincare. I thought that if I did exactly what they were doing, then I would have the friends and the happiness and the joy and the goodness that came out of it. And it did not work. And so for a long time I didn't really understand. I'm like, dang, I'm doing exactly what they're doing, and I'm not ending up like them. So yeah, and throughout this time I began to develop a relationship with Christ. It was really slowly developing, because I always grew up in the church, but I never had a relationship with God, because it's different. It's different. I had a religion, not a relationship. So I really started to read the word more throughout that time, and I started to talk to God a little bit more and was trying to get to know him. It didn't happen overnight. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and was like, oh, me and God, we locked in. It took some time. Like, I would read the word like once a day. I would, try to study more. I would watch a sermon probably like once a few months. I didn't really watch sermons that often, but I was just trying to connect with God more. And as time went on, I remember like I kept trying to change myself to really get what I wanted, because I was talking to God and I'm like, God, I really don't have anyone. Like, I'm struggling. I'm confused, and a lot of it was just hard to deal with. Yeah. Loneliness for me I was kind of just used to it at that point. Like, I'm by myself every day, and it just became normal. But also very sad, because sometimes I would forget that I wanted to have friends. Like, I would just be in my room by myself every day. I would find like a little hobby to do. Like, I remember I started painting, and I would paint for hours and then go to bed and do it again the next day, just to kind of keep myself from thinking about how I felt. And also at the time, I kind of developed like an eating disorder because I wanted to change myself, and depression because I was so sad and I was just trying to figure everything out. And let me tell y'all, it was hard. It was really hard, but it's so much beauty that came out of it, because I was lonely, and I would tell y'all that I felt very alone. I felt by myself. I didn't feel like I had a single person to talk to, but because I didn't have anyone, I talked to God. And at the time, I still was getting to know him, and I was still learning about who he is and his character, but I would talk to him because I felt like I had no one else. And so me talking to him, it kind of allowed me to, feel a little bit less lonely. But because I was still getting to know him, and I wasn't fully healed from that feeling, I was like, it's working a little bit, but it wasn't hitting how I wanted it to hit. Like, when you get a good conversation, you walk away like, I feel relieved. It wasn't like that, because it needed time. And the more time went on, the more I started talking to God, and the more our relationship started to build. And so I was able to just talk to him. And when I felt lonely, he just reminded me that I'm here, and that he won't leave me nor forsake me. And at first, those just felt like words for a long time, but now it's like they weren't just words; they were true, because I had no one. And I'm keep saying this over again. I felt like I had no friends, no one to talk to, but God was always there. And so, how I combat that feeling of loneliness, I think we combat it by realizing that God is a true friend. And yes, it might feel like you have no one to talk to sometimes, but I'm telling you, if you just talk to God about it, it might not feel good immediately, but the more you begin to develop that relationship with him, the more you talk to him, the more you get to know him as a friend. Because if you're looking for a person to fill that void, it would never be filled. And like me, I was like, dang, like I'm so lonely. And I would text a random person like, hey, how are you? And I mean, not a random person, I know that person, but like we wouldn't be talking for a whole year, and I'm like, oh, hey girl, how are you? And we will have like a little conversation, and it would never make me feel any better than how I felt already, because I was trying to fill a God hole with humans, and you can't do that. You can't put people in that position to satisfy you when God is the only one that can truly satisfy you. So yeah, you can't fill a God-sized hole with people, because it's not fair to you, and it's definitely not fair to them, because you're gonna start expecting more out of them, because you're not really satisfying yourself with God. And so for me, yeah, I went through that season of loneliness, but it taught me that God is a true friend. And it's a scripture here that God showed me today. It says, a man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And I know that that friend who sticks closer than a brother is Jesus, because I have lived through it. I have went through a season where loneliness was just present every day. But I can say that each day in that season, God was there, and He was there for me to talk to, and He was there for me to lean on and to cry to. And still to this day, God, He blessed me with friends that I can talk to, that I can, be open with, that I can communicate with. But I know who my number one friend is. And so if you're experiencing a season of loneliness and you feel like, dang, I would never have friends, or I will never get over this feeling, I encourage you to allow God to show you how much of a friend He is. Because He's not only a father, He's not only, He's more than a father. He's a friend, He's a comforter, He's a therapist when you need Him. He can be everything you need is found in Him. And when you feel so lonely and you feel like, oh, if I only had a friend, I encourage, go to God immediately. Don't try to find a random friend outside, because you'll just end up trying to fill that void with them instead of God. But when you fill that void with you allow God to satisfy you and to fill that hole, then everything else, every friendship, every relationship that comes out of that will not be burdens, they'll be blessings. Because now I'm not expecting you to, heal me. I'm not expecting my friends to, stay up at 3 a.m. just to hear me cry, or I'm not expecting someone to, encourage me, or to do this or to do that, because I already get it from God. But since I get it from God, if they were to do it, it will be added on top of that. You get it? I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. So yeah, because how do I explain this? I think I'm doing a good job. I'm just speaking from the heart. # speaking from the heart. B. Fletcher. But yeah, once you allow God to fill that God-sized hole, everything else is blessings instead of burdens. That's what I wanted to say. So, today, I have friends. I have plenty. I have a lot of people that I can talk to, but also I allow God to show me who my real friends are, or who the people I can really trust are. Because you got to have the spirit of discernment when it comes to relationships or friendships, and so you just got to be smart in that way. And I know that for the longest I wasn't smart in that way, so I'm just actively trying to allow God to show me, hey girl, that's your friend, talk to her, she has really good advice. And don't talk to them, because they're good people, we love them, but they might not have the best advice all the time. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here to encourage you, because I get it, I understand, I get how it feels. I know that sometimes it feels like it would never stop. I know that sometimes it feels like it would never get better, but trust me, it took some time. For me, it took over dang near almost 2 years, but we got through it. You're going to get through it, and it's going to be okay. And I just want to encourage you to keep going, keep rocking with God, allow Him to heal you, allow Him to show you the beauty of life. And sometimes you got to go through the rough season to get out of it and look back on it and be like, dang, it was hard, but how I am now because of it is so much better than how I was before. So I wouldn't exchange it for the world, because God really grew me so much in that season of my life, and our relationship grew so much. So I love you. This is episode 3 of Always and Forever podcast. I'm your host, Trin. Did I say that? If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm your host, Trin. That's who I am. I love you. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Let me make sure. No, it's not all I have to say. Okay. Another cool thing that came out of all of this is that having a relationship or a friendship with God showed me how I should be treating my friends that I have now. Like, if my friends hurt my feelings, I don't cuss them out because we're not supposed to. I'm supposed to be forgiving. I'm supposed to be merciful and kind and gentle to my friends because I learned that through my friendship with Jesus. And like, it's so much that I learned from my relationship and my friendship with God that I can apply and, use in other relationships, because it's like a study guide. Like, okay, I use what I learned here to help me over here. And that's how it is. And that's how it's going to be. Yeah. If you want to build a friendship with God, I'm going to give you some ways that I did it and still do it to this day. Honestly, me and God, we're growing. There's still more that I have to learn about him. He knows everything about me because he's God, but I'm still getting to know him in certain ways. But ways that I've gotten to know him in the past, honestly, it just really comes from spending time with him. You can spend time with him through prayer. Prayer is really just having a conversation with God. Like, you don't have to talk about anything deep. You don't have to, you don't gotta use all 75 names of God in the prayer just for him to hear you. Like, you can just talk to him how you would talk to a friend, because that's how you're trying to get to know him as a friend. And we also do other things, like I would read a book about God to learn about him, or I would, watch a movie, a Christian movie, or listen to songs. Just like, you can spend time with God in so many ways, and you can really get to know him as a friend in so many ways. One time I baked cupcakes and just talked to God the entire time, and it's fun. It also takes discipline, because it's so much easier to turn on the TV than it is to actually put yourself in that mental state to talk to God. But I'm telling you, if you just do it, man, it becomes really nice. It's really peaceful there. It's fun. We be lit, we be turned, we be living like Larry. And yeah. So, now, that was all I had to say. And yeah, I hope this word blessed you. I love you so much. And now it's time for the CEC, or the Christian Entertainment Chart. If we don't know what this is, it's a chart, not really a real chart, but a list of my top 3 top Christian entertainment choices for the week. So yeah, my number 1 entertainment choice that I've been my number 1 for today's list is War by Caleb Gordon. It's a really good song. I've been listening to it. My sister put me on, and I love her. The second option is a movie, and it's called Greater. It's on Netflix. It's about a football player. That's all y'all need to know. Just go ahead and watch it. And what's my third one? I never have a third. Okay, my third one is a pastor. I've been watching all of his sermons. His name's Robert Madu, and his church is called Social Dallas. I love his sermons. Like, he be dropping some knowledge. That's all I gotta say. So I encourage you to go watch these things. Go, spend time with God in different ways. And I love you. I will see y'all next week. Bye.